My name is David Payne. I practice law in Asheville, North Carolina at a law firm known as David R. Payne, PA. I've been practicing law for 22 years in Asheville. I do both federal and state criminal work. And one of the most common questions I have related to criminal issues surrounds the concept of talking to the police. I just finished a DWI trial this week, and we won the trial, but during the trial a lot of language made its way into evidence, if you will, related to what my client told the police officer. Now, my client was an extremely truthful, honest, wonderful individual, but she indicated that she had had 3 beers. She actually said the type of beer and the time that she drank those beers. But all that was heard into evidence, or at least was presented into evidence, was, I had 3 beers. Which immediately leads one to the presumption that, well, obviously she was intoxicated. We were able, through other evidence, to negate that and to have her eventually found not guilty. But what if that other evidence had not been available? All we would have had in that situation was what she said, coming from a uniformed police officer sitting on a stand. The Fifth Amendment of the Constitution of the United States says, a person shall not be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself. Here's the number one question I have. What do I say to the police when they stop me? What do I say to the police at a DUI checkpoint? What do I say to the police when they pull me over at night? Let me inform you right now that there is nothing you can say to the police that will in any way exonerate you or make them feel differently about you. A lot of people think, well, if I can just talk, I'll get my way out of this situation. The Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution was drafted for you. It was also drafted for the police. It protects us all. And our advice is very simple. You say nothing. Nothing. Here's what I mean by that. A lot of times the first thing they'll ask you is, may I see your license and registration? I would give them my license and registration. Wouldn't have a problem with that. The second thing they'll ask you typically is, have you had anything to drink tonight? At that point, I would look at the officer and I would say something like this. Officer, with all due respect, I'm not going to answer questions from you. Period. Now, they don't like that. So they'll ask again. Sometimes they'll say something like this. What, do you have something to hide? Why aren't you talking to me? You again reiterate the fact that, officer, I will not answer questions. If the officer directs you to do something, for example, pull your car over, I want you to say something like this. Are you demanding that I move my car over? Yes or no? In other words, you ask the questions. The first thing that should come out of your mouth when a police officer pulls you over or stops you at a DUI checkpoint is, why did you stop me? Why are you pulling me over? What are you doing here? Especially in a DUI checkpoint. Have I done anything wrong? And you'll hear them say, no, this is just a checkpoint. We just want to make sure that no one's out drinking or driving. Have you had anything to drink tonight? Officer, with all due respect, I will not answer questions. Now, a lot of people think that just makes him suspicious and he thinks immediately that you've drank. Well, what if you're trying to be truthful? And what if you said something like this? Well, yeah, officer, I did have a drink about 4 hours ago. I had a glass of wine with my spaghetti. Do you think that's going to stop him from any further inquiry? Oh, okay, well, thanks for telling me that. You go on about your business and have a nice night. No. What he's going to do at that point is get you out, give you a field sobriety test, and give you a breathalyzer test to see if you are in fact intoxicated. The more appropriate question, which I still wouldn't answer, would be something like this. Are you intoxicated or are you impaired while you're driving? See, it's not illegal in the state of North Carolina to consume alcohol and to operate a vehicle as long as you're not impaired. And typically that impairment number is 0.08 or higher. It used to be 0.15 or 1.5, then it went down to 1.0, then it went down to 0.08. So the issue of impairment is the true issue. My point is this. What do I say to the police? The answer is nothing. With all due respect, officer, I'm not going to answer any questions. Can you tell me why you stopped me? He needs to be able to articulate that. She needs to be able to articulate that. And quite frankly, if you have an iPhone, I tell my clients, turn them on. Turn on the iPhone, keep it on the entire time so that you can record the events. Officer, why have you stopped me? Well, I stopped you because you were weaving. Well, how was I weaving? You start asking the questions that you want the answers to. How was I weaving? Was I speeding? Was I weaving within my lane? Was I weaving in somebody else's lane? Was I exceeding the speed limit? What infraction did I violate? What did I do wrongly to justify you stopping me? That's the question you need to ask. Be careful getting into discourse. I'm not saying don't utter a word. I'm saying ask questions, but watch out for dialogue between you and the officer. You want to ask them why they stopped you. You don't want to be engaged in a conversation where eventually he comes back around to, so where'd you have dinner tonight? I ate at XYZ restaurant. Oh, they have a good wine list there, don't they? Well, yes, as a matter of fact, they do. Do you like red wine or white wine? Well, I like red wine. Did you have any tonight? Well, yes, I did. But I'm not intoxicated. Please step out of the car. That type of conversation is what you want to avoid. You ask the questions, and if he says pull over, it's fine. You need to cooperate. If your license and registration check out, then you need to continue to ask the following question. Are you detaining me? If you are, why are you detaining me? I detect the odor of alcohol. Okay, thank you. You don't want to say, I didn't drink anything, or I only drank one. You just say, thank you for answering my question. Remember, you have 30 minutes to call and get a witness. So if they're going to start their field sobriety test or breathalyzer test, etc., you need to say something like this. Are you now going to test me? Yes, I am. Well, under the statutes of North Carolina, I'm giving you notice at this point in time that I'm going to be calling a witness. We now have 30 minutes from this time. I will sit in my car and I will wait on my witness. Do you have to talk? No. Be extremely leery, be very wary of police officers who say, well, the reason you're not talking is because you're hiding something. I would suggest the response would be something like this. The reason I'm not talking is because the Constitution of the United States of America says that you, under any circumstances, for any reason, cannot compel me to talk. And you're not to infer guilt or innocence from my silence. There's nothing wrong with simply keeping your mouth shut. We encourage you to contact us, 828-258-0076. or on the web, www.drplawfirm.com. Thanks.